You came out as non-binary and people were celebrating, clapping anywhere you went. It was so easy. Obviously lies, but, you know, who cares about the truth when, you know, your fictional scenario in your head just makes so much more sense to you? I think I'm going to, like, turn this into a video where I was talking about, like, how people, you know, want to feel like they have, like, a purpose. You know, what they're doing is beneficial. They're making, like, a difference, which is, like, why it's so easy for people to like jump on a witch hunt and go after marginalized groups, because, you know, when they harm marginalized groups and they've been taught that, you know, it's something good that they're doing by harming marginalized groups, then they kind of like pat themselves on the back, and it's like, you know, it's really easy to make trans people miserable, for example, right? It's really easy to like jump on trans people and bully us and you know, make us depressed, make it as if like transitioning is just not going to be good enough anyway, so why bother, right? You're going to get invalidated the entire time. So I saw this is one of like many posts, but I'm just going to like use this as like a talking point. Obviously I have paint in the front, so trans identification is in free fall among the young. Share of students not identifying as male or female 2016 to 2025. People are obviously like looking at this and they're going, oh yeah, it's like a social media trend, right? It's getting harder for trans people to have access to healthcare. And also like this is, you know, disingenuously phrased, because typically you would say like, oh, neither identifying as a woman or a man. I think that like a lot more people would probably be inclined to like say that, but it's so problematic to be like non-binary in this world, because like the world is binary, right? It's a binary space. Obviously this is like a really small part of the trans community is actually non-binary, and a lot of trans people, trans women still identify as female. A lot of trans men identify as male. There's like this weird in-between state that a lot of people have. But typically when it comes to like to non-binary people, it's really difficult to exist in the world. So I tweeted, you successfully bullied trans people into the closets, especially non-binary people face many difficulties. So not just to concede to the binary for the comfort of bigots. This doesn't mean anything. There are a lot of people being like, oh, why is it so difficult for non-binary people? It's just people who want to be special. You are either a man or a woman. You're either male or female. There's no in-between. Why are non-binary people struggling? It's just like something personal. Nobody ever views them as non-binary. Why are non-binary people struggling? And it's like, you're answering the question, but the dots are not connecting, right? I got this dude being like, yeah, nobody wants to hear you. We're tolerant and you decided to be annoying. Now we don't have mercy. Shut the fuck up. I was like, make me. And then I got like the huge rant. 5'7" tops. 185 pounds at minimum. At least 2 really stupid tattoos that you believe are profound and have an incredible meaning to your identity. Most likely a septum piercing. You eat fast food 2 meals per day. In every possible scenario, you would choose the book about jerking off minotaurs to use them come to fight fascism. Father in your life is highly unlikely, 85%. Mother probably gave up around 14 to 16 because you wouldn't stop. It keeps going. It keeps going. It's a whole fucking fanfic. Is this text AI generated? It has to be, right? We're highly confident this text is entirely human. People being like, oh, this is really man-coded of you to say. It means we're here with the history of left-handedness. I was hoping that we had that dip, you know, here, and then it would continue to like level out. But it's just like a lot of people feel unsafe to come out. Wow. You got rid of trans people by bullying us and making it so difficult for us to exist. So people are just like conceding and trying to be as safe as possible. You didn't get rid of like trans people, but it's just like, you know, like publicly people aren't out. Wow, you did it. You got rid of transgenderism. So, you know, people are scared. But the thing is, like, when it comes to non-binary people, it's like you can't win. Society pushes the idea that like the world is black and white, right? You're either you know, female or you're male. There's no in between, even though, you know, like sex is bimodal and it has nothing to do with like gender identity and so on. Gender as a construct, how it's like different in different cultures and so on. It doesn't matter that like non-binary people existed in other cultures like decades ago. You know, it doesn't matter about like intersex people and so on, but it's just male or female. and you would only go from male to female through like transitioning. But since you can't change your gametes or whatnot, then you can never change your feminine male. You are a male that wants to feel special. I also heard like the reasoning why men would come out as non-binary is because women are more accepting of non-binary men than the real men because, they've been taught that masculinity is bad and evil, and they're just like, everybody's so much nicer to the non-binary male, which is obviously just like bullshit coping mechanism of like incels and so on. Being like, oh, it's so difficult to be a cis white man in this society. Why don't women just like, cater towards me? Why do I have to put in effort? Everybody tells me I got male privilege, but I'm still not good enough in school. Only the women get good grades because they're pretty. Especially young men are falling for that. But like, if you're non-binary, there's like nothing you can do for people to like look at you and go, oh, they, them. There's some ambiguity, right? Some people are like, oh, are you a man or are you a woman? Are you he or she? People still want to like shove you into like the box and so on, which is obviously like really problematic. I was hanging out with Vivi and she told me that, she was talking about on stream that's like actually like really traumatic because, she identified as non-binary and basically just like conceded to being a woman because it's like easier in a sense. Because like if you're non-binary, most of the time you're getting misgendered anyway. If you come out as a trans woman or a trans man, people have a really easy time using they, them pronouns for you, exclusively using they, them pronouns for you. I have never been called they, them as much as when people found out that I'm a trans woman and they didn't want to outright misgender me. And then they were like, oh, don't you feel like thankful that we're not calling you he? We're just considering you other, different, diverse. Aren't you happy that we're not calling you a man? You're just like a subcategory of man. You're not really a woman, you're not really a man. Luxanda has a really good take on this. Lux goes by it, it's. If you're like agender or whatnot, it's pronouns are also like really difficult because people are like, I can't respect your pronouns because that feels like I'm dehumanizing you. So I'm going to go abuse you further by like disrespecting you and calling you she or he. If you come out as non-binary, people are going to make it out to be like some social media trend. Oh, you just want to feel special. Women just want to detach themselves from womanhood because, they've been bullied. Men want to detach themselves from manhood because they've been bullied by the evil women. That's kind of like the situation. So yeah, congrats. You bullied trans people into the closet and, people have a harder time coming out. And I think that like in the current day and age, being non-binary is like incredibly difficult. Most of the time, the non-binary people that I've talked to, right, they are non-binary or like agender or whatnot, and they would prefer to be seen as non-binary. They do not like their assigned gender at birth, so they are just going to do the thing of like, well, I'm never going to like be gendered properly as non-binary. It's too difficult to like explain it to people because everybody is like, frowning upon it and it's like, oh, you're not real anyway. You're either male or female, right? And to like save themselves from that, there are a lot who are like, well, okay, I'm going to just like identify as a woman. I'm just going to identify as a man, which obviously sucks. And the thing is like, this also comes from the trans community. Within the trans community, there are some invalidations happening, which is crazy as well. But yeah, everybody can fall for like the patriarchal norm, even if they're like non-binary people. And it's like, well, in order to be non-binary, you have to be androgynous, so you can't be like a masculine man. Some like a weird justification to why someone's non-binary identity is invalid, why someone's agender identity is invalid. Then you fulfill that, but then the majority of people are still going to misgender you. So it's like, what are you winning by like just having people like try to shove you into a box or define your existence, but you don't fit in either box, but people still shove you in one. And then you want to like free yourself from these boxes and people are still going to like label you and whatnot. Biological determinism seems so unreasonable to me. Yeah, but you're woke. So it's just indoctrinated into everyone. You're either male or female. You're either a man or a woman. You can either get pregnant or you're the impregnator. What is that graph again? Share of students not identifying as male or female, 2016 to 2025. At fire data in particular. I don't know if that is if that actually means anything. I don't think so. I don't know where the numbers come from, but this has been shared around and it's being used as a justification that woke is dead. Transgenderism is over. Obviously not what this graph is telling people, but you know, right-wingers, transphobes have always seen things happening with the trans community and jump to the wrong conclusions, and you give them more information and they still don't want to accept it, because why would you change your mind? Why would you do that? Obviously you can't. Either a fake graph or it doesn't show the whole story. Yeah. Realized something funny today. LGB equals sexualities. Ls equals women attracted to women. Gs men attracted to men. Bs equals people attracted to both sexes. So in the whole LGBTQI plus acronym, there's not a single group that is attracted to non-binary people. Isn't that funny that that's not the case? These are the same types of people who are looking at the bisexual flag and they're like, oh, the pink means women and the blue means men. And the purple in between just means nothing. Which is obviously not the case, because the purple in between means genderqueer, which is like an umbrella term for a lot of things. People just realized what reality was. So, you know, you look at the thing. You look at the tweets, it got like 400 comments, 4,000 likes and whatnot. There are a lot of people in here, obviously, being weird. And also, like, being proud of it. It's not fashionable anymore. It's like, oh, it's no longer a trend to call yourself non-binary because it was so easy. You were so special. You did it for brownie points. You came out as non-binary and people were celebrating, clapping anywhere you went. It was so easy. Obviously lies, but, you know, who cares about the truth when, you know, your fictional scenario in your head just makes so much more sense to you? And I hate it. Non-binary people are valid. Agender people are valid. Anyone in between the spectrum, outside of the spectrum, you're valid. And I hate that society makes it so easy, so difficult for you because of this. You're either male or female. There's no gradient. And then equating male with man and equating female with woman. It is literally just like to separate people, to control them better. And then I'm like repeating myself on issues again, because everything boils down to the same points.